afternoon and welcome to Moncton Magic Basketball live from the Moncton Coliseum. I'm Scott Squires alongside with my broadcast partner Dave Tingley. And Dave, the Moncton Magic, we talked about it last night, the importance of this stretch in February. These games at home, they don't have to travel. They can make hay while the home sun shines, so to speak. And they got off to a great start last night, a huge victory over a Cape Breton Highlanders team, beating them by 38 points. The Island Storm come in here this afternoon. It's a big game for the Storm, but certainly for the Magic as well as they look to keep it going. What do you look for in this afternoon's matchup?
Well, what I look for in this afternoon's matchup is more of the same for the Magic. You talked about it. Make hay while the sun shines in this long home stretch where they've got games to. They started off the first half of the season. They had one of the more difficult home schedules in the league. The back half is much easier on them, and they as they make the way to the playoffs here. They've got to go through this stretch and make a run to climb up the standings a little bit, and they've got an opportunity. And today, with the Island looking sharp in their new uniforms, by the way, nicely done, Island Storm. This matchup is really advantageous for them. They're coming off. This is a second game of a back-to-back, but it's a home game. It's a stretch. It's against an Island team that's really been struggling lately. Only 2 wins in their last 10, and they've got a deeper team, a more talented team. And really, they should be just as rested coming off a game last night. You talked about a 38-point victory. A lot of guys got rest in the second half.
Well, the Island Storm indeed looking pretty sharp and snazzy in those new road dark blues with the Island Storm orange trim. The home whites being worn by the Moncton Magic today. They had the brays on last night, so they'll hope for the same amount of luck wearing the whites. Of course, Moncton going left to right on your screen wearing those home whites. The Island Storm right to left, and it's Denzel Taylor getting ready to tip it off against Mad Max Devon Maxwell. And we are underway from the Moncton Coliseum, the Magic, the Storm. Glad to have you with us.
And a real loud crowd out here in an afternoon where I was concerned about the crowd with the weather outside on the roads, but a lot of fans made the trip.
That's tip, so the ball stays possession to the Magic, and again, something the fans have started doing recently, staying on their feet from the opening tip until the home side gets the first bucket. And Thomas, with the shot clock winding down, they're waving it off.
And a real good defensive possession to start for Island. Kind of what Cape Breton did last night, came way out, denied the Magic, made them start their offense really high out, and the Magic quickly adjusted last night and started attacking those aggressive defenders. We'll see if they do the same thing here.
Here's Stringer, gets it right back into Maxwell. He backs in Williams, and Devon Maxwell, you talked about him in the Periscope pregame that we did. He seems to have a way of finding extra energy here at the Coliseum playing Moncton. And a good start for Devon there.
And he's typically matched up with Terry Thomas, but tonight they've put him on Jeremy Williams, and Jeremy takes advantage, banks it in and one. And I talked about it last night. Cape Breton came out super aggressive, denial, really hand-checking the ball handlers, trying to force the Magic to start the offense way out. And quickly they adjusted and started attacking. And looks like J-Will got the memo.
So Williams to the line, and again, that game yesterday, don't let the final score fool you. Up until really the beginning of the third quarter, that was a very tight game. As you said, the Highlanders came out and were pretty much matching the Magic possession for possession. It wasn't until that big stretch to open up the third quarter where they really started to pull away. So as Williams hits, so an early lead here for Moncton, 4-2. Just inside.
Should be only 3, actually. That first shot didn't count. There was a violation, so it's 3-2.
They'll
adjust that, I'm sure.
Johnson, that's off the mark from the outside. Rebounded back the other way. Terry Thomas takes a little step back there, working Henry with the defense. Williams now. He fakes giving it off to Allman, then goes all the way over to Terry Thomas. Henry on him again. Thomas tries to put it on the floor against the aggressive defense of Henry, and Henry's going to be called for the foul.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup there. Henry, I wouldn't have tabbed him to be the guy to start on Terry. Like I said, Devon Maxwell and Terry has been a real fun matchup to watch in this building as they go at each other. And now they've switched off, and now it's Chris Johnson over there. So they seem to be throwing some different looks at Terry.
Nice crowd on hand. Here's Corey Allman trying to get the touch early. And that's tapped all the way back off the cylinder. So They'll try it once again with a fresh shot clock. Terry Thomas aggressively to the right hand and off glass and in. Nice drive there from Double T.
And no matter how many times he gives that left shot fake and goes right, he's so good with his footwork, you keep falling for it.
Franklin Session steps back from about 6 feet. Shot's no good. Rebounded again by the Magic as they have a good start here on the glass, grabbing those rebounds. Just a couple of minutes in. 5-2 is your score. Williams' long-range shot no good. Into the hands of Jerry and Henry. The native of Long Beach, California, gets it up to Andre Stringer. Bounce pass to Maxwell, and Maxwell drives in and kisses it off the glass for the bucket.
And the pace of play is really high right now. There's Devon Maxwell. That's what he can do. One of the leading shot blockers in the league if he's engaged. And he tracked it down and sent it back on Terry.
Outside for three. Devon Maxwell off the side of the rim. Rebounded as it came down off of Henry and then into the hands of Denzel Taylor for the Magic. Anderson, aggressive, puts it on the floor, bounces it now to Williams. He'll jump from about 8 feet. That's no good. Long lead pass to Maxwell. Williams catches up from behind, and Maxwell does a nice job to step around Williams, and Devon Maxwell on fire early here for the Island Storm. 6-5 Storm lead.
Another adjustment the Magic made last night. They had some runouts like that happen against them too, but they adjusted last night. And there's Corey dialing it up for the first time tonight.
Corey Almond, ever since a couple of weeks ago when he found himself a real dandy long distance plan, he's been taking advantage of it game in and game out. And another one there.
And that's a bread and butter play of the Magic right now. It's simple on the right-hand side. Corey loves coming from the right-hand side, sweeping to his left. Right-hand shooters are often really comfortable doing that, going to the left. And they have that simple, just pin-down screen that they run. And you execute it properly, and you get a wide-open shot.
Here's Stringer. Speaking of wide open, stepped into the defender. Shot's no good, though. And here comes Terry Thomas. He's like a running back when he gets going. Dishes inside. Denzel Taylor. The easy putback on the sweet feed from Thomas.
That was so smart. Terry saw what Denzel was doing, setting him up in front of him, kept his head up. Denzel made himself available, and a pretty delivery from Terry.
8:22 to go here, just underway in this first quarter. Johnson off the rebound, shot's no good. Williams grabs the rebound, gets it ahead to Corey, bounces it to Thomas. Lost the handle for a minute, gets it back, and the gentle kiss off the glass, and a good start here for Terry.
Great catch there from Terry, tough in traffic. Corey almost thought he threw it behind him too much, but was able to gather and finish, and Terry off to another good start tonight like he was last night.
Little tap from behind as Anderson knocked it away from Stringer, but it went into the hands of Johnson. Gets it back to Stringer now. He'll put up the shot. That's off the mark. Rebound came down, tapped away. Session thought he had it. States gets it back to Johnson, steps back and off glass and in. Nice sequence there as the Storm had a couple of cracks at it, and it's finally Chris Johnson who puts it home.
Johnson's been a little bit rusty coming back from an injury that he had there. Hasn't shot the ball as well, but good to see him get one to go down.
Anderson for three, rattles it around and in. Double A, Anthony Anderson with the tray. And this Moncton Magic team, is there anyone on the roster that can't shoot the three?
And Double A is looking a lot more confident with his shot the last few games. Was down around 42% for the year from the field a few games ago, but he's really kind of got that shot going more. Finding offense for himself recently.
Johnson with the nice look as he took it right underneath the basket, went off the glass and in.
And he's what you call a professional scorer. He doesn't do anything spectacularly well, but he finishes at the rim, can shoot the three a little bit, can put the ball on the floor. So he's an all-around scorer. Just gets the ball in the hole no matter how you need him to do it.
Foul called on Franklin Session. That's his first. Devon Maxwell checks into the game. Jerry and Henry will take a seat for the Storm. 6:56 left to go in this first quarter. It's a 5-point lead for the Magic. Denzel Taylor out at the top now, gives it off to Jay Will. Brad States on him. Allman up for three. Corey Allman rolls around. Didn't go, but Taylor ends up with the ball in his hands. Right back outside to Anthony Anderson.
And again, that simple pin down screen gets Corey Allman a wide open screen. We got Denzel setting, and he's setting such good screens right now.
And Williams takes it strong baseline and goes up and in for two.
And then they kept the shot alive, down there did Terry and Denzel teaming up for an offensive rebound. Second shot opportunity, and Jay Will converts.
Here's Andre Stringer now. Anderson on him. Devon Maxwell with the little screen. Stringer had it stripped away, stays with it, steps back, puts it up, and gets the sweet stroke to go. Nice shot there from number 10, Andre Stringer. Thomas now back up the floor the other way. 5-point lead for the Magic. 6:05 to go in the first quarter. Anthony Anderson. Some quick ball movement now for the Magic. They get it to Thomas, wide open for three. Terry Thomas sinks it home from outside the arc.
He starts off 3 for 4, and he's shooting the ball real well again.
Back the other way, Franklin Session with the circus shot underneath. Nice acrobatic.
Yeah, he was off to a slow start, but he's the engine that makes them go, is Session, and he's got to get out and make things go in the open floor, and there's double A. Quick as you like. I can't even get one thought finished, and there's another hoop going up. It's such a frenzied pace here early. 22-14 now. 5:30 on the clock.
There's Maxwell taking it strong in. Mad Max takes it right in against Williams. And Devon Maxwell, hard to stop when he gets the nose for the basket. Very similar to the 13 in white. Terry Thomas and Devon Maxwell have similar styles of play.
Well, that's what we talked about with the key in our Periscope pregame. We talked about the key for Island. I really strongly thought it was Devon Maxwell. He has these games where he coasts in and out of maximum intensity and effort sometimes, but he seems to really be engaged in this building with Moncton. Something brings that out of him, this rivalry, and typically it's a head-to-head matchup with Terry Thomas. It's not tonight, but he's still got his game face on, and he's super aggressive here early. 3 for 4, 6 points, and he's going to go to the line, trying to convert 2 more.
So we're in our first media timeout. It's 22-14, 8-point lead for the Moncton Magic, looking to cap off a 2-0 weekend here against 2 of their division rivals that had the big win last night over the Cape Breton Highlanders, and looking to beat up until January 24th. The Storm had been their arch nemesis, but a big win for Moncton back on January 24th when they defeated the Island Storm 113-88. And you know, this team has been building all year. We've talked about the veteran leadership and how they would come together and start to gel. But sometimes you got to look at the intangibles. And up until that game on January 24th, the Island Storm had really kind of had the Moncton Magic's number. And it was kind of one of those teams that the Magic, like, we just got to beat these guys. Since that game on January 24th, it's almost like as a team, they lifted that collective weight off their shoulders, and they've been playing with a much higher level of confidence right across the board. Yeah, sometimes just teams have your number, and like you look at Island's season overall, at one point, they were 8-4 and in first place in the division, largely off of 4 wins against the Moncton Magic. But since then, this run, that game that you're discussing is part of this kind of spiral that the Island has gone through, this 2-8 sort of run here. Well, really 2-10 since that 8-4 mark that they had at one point, and really it's the bench, and this is what is disconcerting for me if I'm an Island fan. It's 22-15 now with another shot here to come from Devon as he makes the first. The starters are what you kind of lean on here. The bench has been trouble for Island recently, but we'll see if a little practice time, little rest, little recovery from injury, things have evened out for them with this bench mob. Maxwell misses the second, rebounded by the Magic, and Thomas tried to feed it outside to Brent Jennings, who's checked into the game now from Moncton, but that pass went awry. Jason Caliste also on the floor along with Anthony Cox, so 3 fresh bodies out there for the Moncton Magic with 5:12 to go in this first quarter. Speaking of new bodies on the floor, Kimiosi, one of those for the Island Storm. Maxwell to Session. Circus shot underneath as he tried to contort his body and put his back to the basket. And he draws the foul, and they're going to give it to Cox. And Cox, not really sure that can't believe, I guess, it's against him. Yeah, me neither. I mean, I was thinking if he was going to call the foul there, I was going to say it might be on Terry down low, because, I mean, Anthony Cox coming across, a really athletic block. Looked like it was pretty clean from this angle, but Sessions makes the first at the line. Franklin Session, pardon me. Franklin Session certainly having an excellent year for the Island Storm. Leading scorer on this team, coming in 19.3 points per game. Also, their leading rebounder at 9.3 boards a game. So Franklin Session, they shut him down the last time here. They played on January 24th, but he's a guy, if he gets hot, he can hurt you. I mean, that rebounding is something that plays into how effective his game is, because he gets that ball and goes off of the defensive boards, one of the leading defensive rebounders in the league from a point guard position. Anthony Cox now goes in, puts the shoulder down into Brad States, knocks States down. Anderson, speaking of knocking it down, tried to hit the long-range shot. Physical battle underneath between States and Cox, and then back the other way. Maxwell runs into Anderson. Anderson thought he had position, but he's going to take the blocking foul.
Yeah, and that one's a little questionable if I'm a Magic fan as well. I mean, certainly the letter of the law in the rule book is going to say if you're not set defensively that you can't take a charge. But in situations like that where a guy slides, anticipates so well and slides with the offensive player, a lot of times they'll earn one. But they didn't give it to AA on that one.
Maxwell misses both. So that call doesn't hurt the Magic in terms of points from the free throw line. Maxwell with the nice defense knocks it away. Anderson's got to get back, and it rolls around. And again, I think that's going to be 2 quick fouls on Anthony Anderson.
And Coach Kendrick is up and applauding his guys, and Maxwell really putting in work here in this first quarter and really carrying the team on his back a little bit right now.
And you can. Maybe it's coming through the headsets, but you can hear that raspy voice of Coach Kendrick. Good job, 13.
Yeah.
So Coach Kendrick liking what he sees here from his team, but in particular, Mad Max, Devon Maxwell, and Maxwell hits the back end. So it's a 22-18 game. Island Storm hanging around here.
Maxwell does struggle at the line a little bit. Another one of his, he's about 58% on the year.
And we're going to have another foul now as the foul starting to pile up here against the Magic, and in particular against Anthony Cox and Anthony Anderson. That's 2 now on both Cox and Anderson as Cox picks up his second.
And Anthony got that elbow up a little bit and tried to slide and make a little extra contact with Session. Session did a good job absorbing that and going down, making sure the referee knew about it.
Look at Session spinning against the defense of Kalist and Franklin. Session, nice move there as he took it into the paint, had the shifty, nifty little spin move, and gets the bucket. Anthony Anderson now bounce pass out to Kalist. He can hit from out there, decides to give it back to Anderson. Inside to Cox, he's on skates again. Nice dish to Terry Thomas, and Thomas falling away from the basket gets the shot to go.
And it's just a nice cut by Terry off the ball, and Cox recognized it right away.
Quick ball move, they get it into the hands of Maxwell. He ducks underneath Cox. And I think they're going to call Cox again, and that's number 3 on Anthony, and we've still got 3:36 to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's trouble. Because they've got, Magic have relied on a pretty solid 3 big man rotation. And with Terrell Baines and Denzel Taylor's going to check back in for Anthony, for the Ant-Man here. And Ant-Man's going to have to sit, I mean, you would think the rest of the half with those 3.
So that's 3, and Anthony still having some choice words directed indirectly, I guess, toward the officials. Denzel Taylor into the game now as Cox takes a seat with those 3 fouls.
And his biggest concern was that screen that he got called for, that's for sure.
And I guess the good news is, to your point earlier, is if you're going to put somebody on the line, make it Devon Maxwell, who's not exactly having a great night from the charity stripe, at least early on. Here's Thomas with pace, gives it away, put it right into the hands of Maxwell. He was trying to find Kalist, but Maxwell stepped right into the lane of that pass and picked it off.
You got to have that feel if you're Terry to know that that guy's coming from behind you and likely going to anticipate that pass.
Devon spins, steps back, shots no good. Anderson into the game now for the Storm, gets the rebound. States juggled it, lost the handle. Thomas back the other way. Al Stewart right to the rim, dishes off to Taylor, gets his own rebound. Down to the floor now, and there's the man in the middle again, Devon Maxwell.
Yeah, great block there from Chris Anderson too. He's been a revelation since coming to this squad. He wasn't in the starting lineup tonight. It looked like Coach Kendrick favored Jerry and Henry as a matchup, but great block there coming off the bench fresh and sending one away on Denzel Taylor.
And I think Coach Kendrick sensing that Maxwell is definitely head and shoulders into this game, having a few words of encouragement there as he came up the floor, making sure that he's going to be able to get his guy to stay in that zone.
Yeah, he's being super cheerleader on this side with his guys. He's really wanting them to stay engaged. He's really intense over here, particularly Coach Kendrick is always super intense, but seems to have a particular sort of attitude today, and he is very upset with that call.
Coach Kendrick to our right on the sideline, definitely very much into this game, and I think a lot of it is to do with the natural rivalry between these 2 teams, but also Coach Kendrick knows that his team is in a dogfight right now to hang around and stay in playoff position. And he knows with the Highlanders getting thumped last night here in Moncton, if he can somehow pull out a win here today with his guys, that's going to go a long way to helping them.
Yeah, the Magic did them a favor last night, but he's trying to kind of make their own luck today and pull back even a full game ahead, pardon me, of Cape Breton in the standings. Now they've got 5 more matchups. They've only played Cape Breton 3 times. They've still got 5 more. Bulk of their schedule here to finish the season is against Cape Breton, so he knows they've got a bunch of matchups here remaining, and every win, every advantage they can take over Cape Breton is really important for them right now.
Caliste 1 of 2 from the line, 25-22. Session again, taking it strong into the paint and toward the bucket. And right now, the 2 guys who have been thorns in the side of Moncton all season, Franklin Session and Devon Maxwell, again doing what they do against Moncton, having a good game here, at least through the first part of this first quarter.
And Frank enjoys talking about it too, but it would be nice if you're an Island fan if they would maybe stop talking and convert the free throws here. They're really struggling at the line, but Frank, he's going to tell you about it too, and he's motioned to the bench. He said, get him out. He can't guard me. Get him out.
Well, again, you're absolutely right. The Storm getting to the line, they just can't take advantage of the line. It stays a 3-point lead. Caliste zips it over to Stewart, steps up baseline, shot off the front of the rim, rebounded there by Maxwell, and he charges down the court, goes right into the paint, floats it up, no good. Rebound comes down into the hands of the Magic, and Terry Thomas right back the other way. Fun watching the 2-13s here as Jennings had a hand in his face. Maybe that shot was deflected a bit. Tornstike Jr. now into the game, bounces it ahead. Look at Session working that ball in the paint. Shots no good. Good defensive stance. Caliste back the other way. Dishes to Terry. Steps back. Puts it on the floor. Dishes to Jennings. Thought about the shot. Steps around the defender. Shots no good. And back and forth we go. It's like watching a pendulum here, swinging one way and then right back the other.
Some poor decision making here by Island the last couple trips, and again,
look at
Maxwell
Caliste
with a turnover.
Here's Al all the way. Stewart off the glass and in. Great job by Caliste. Finds Stewart, and Al Stewart, no problem on the bucket there. Anderson, lead pass up ahead. Session dumps it to Maxwell. He'll put it up for a 3. Long looping shot, and Maxwell drains the tray, and it's a 2-point game, much to the delight of the Island Storm bench and their coach. Stewart wide open, finds a lane, gets the shot to go after a couple of nervous bounces on the rim.
Yeah, I got that to go with the little spin, did Al, but just some careless defense and careless decisions with the ball here recently for Island. It's gotten them a little bit of a deficit here.
Anderson couldn't get that little runner to go. 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. 4-point lead for the Magic. An interesting first quarter to say the least. Caliste for 3. Jason Caliste.
That's his spot on that wing. He loves that spot on the wing, and Al found him for the easy one.
OC couldn't get that shot to drop. Jennings will bring it right back up the floor. 7-point lead, bounced over into the corner for Terry Thomas. He slashes it and hammers it down. 13 is lucky at the rim, and a jam. It's at 34-25.
Terry's so used to that fake left go right with Terry, but shows he can go left too, and tomahawks it.
At the buzzer, shot contested, no good. So a very back and forth first quarter, and a couple of nice sequences for the Magic to end that first quarter, and they have a 9-point advantage after 12 minutes. But an interesting and entertaining first 12, David.
And if you're the Island Storm, you just got to be choked right now a little bit with the end of your quarter here. You had so many opportunities at the free throw line, and only finishing 4 for 13 for the quarter from the free throw line, and you find yourself with a 9-point deficit after 9 missed free throws. But not just that, they only had 2 turnovers on the. I think that number's wrong. They had 3 straight there. To end that quarter, but they weren't turning the ball over. They were getting shots that they wanted. They were getting to the line. They were defending. Moncton had a stretch there where they were really struggling to get shots off and turning the ball over a bit themselves. They ended with 4 for the quarter, and you turn around and all of a sudden it's a 9-point lead for the Magic. You have a couple of careless minutes, and this is what you can't do with this Magic team right now. If you've got them on their heels a little bit, you've got to push and push and push and take advantage, and Island just did not do that.
Well, the Moncton Magic, talk about the kind of confidence that they've built over the last few games. They are 4-1 in their last 5, and in those 4 wins, their average margin of victory, 22 points. It's been almost unstoppable offensively for the Moncton Magic, and again, 3 quarters to go, but again, if you extrapolate 34 points over 4 quarters, again, they're on pace for another huge explosion.
Monster Storn game. And look, the story in the first quarter, you look, is Terry Thomas. I mean, that monstrous left-handed tomahawk jam punctuated an 11.7 rebound quarter for Terry. I mean, he came out here super into it. And we talked about it a little bit last night. Coming into last night's game, over his previous 5, he'd been averaging under 10 points a game for one of the top 5 leading scorers in the league. Not like him. His defense was at his normal level, of course, as it always is, but offensively, and Coach Salerno shrugged it off. My questions, any concern about him at all right now? No, he's going to find his game. And sure enough, these last 2 nights, he's certainly found it. And tonight, he's just having a monster of a game so far.
Leading scorers for the Storm, Devon Maxwell with 11, Franklin Session with 8. Maxwell certainly could have been a lot better if he had been any better than 2 for 8 from the free throw line. Leading the way, as you mentioned, for the Magic, Terry Thomas with 11, and then Anthony Anderson and Jeremy Williams with 5 apiece. So underway here in quarter number 2. Al Stewart to Caliste. He sees the open lane for 3. Shot bounces off the rim. Caliste claps the hands, and the rebound comes down into the hands of Tyler Scott, the former UPEI Panther, out there now for the Island Storm. A couple of UPEI Panthers on this team. We've mentioned it in previous games, but Doot, Tyler Scott, and Brad States, all former UPEI Panthers, and of course Coach Tim Kendrick from the Storm, former head coach for 6 seasons at UPEI, so familiar certainly with those gentlemen is Coach Kendrick.
This is a key stretch here for Island. They're bench heavy on the floor right now, as are the Magic, and we're going to see which second unit can kind of get the better of the other right now, and it's key for the Island to get the better of this second unit for the Magic.
Here comes Corey Almond off the turnover, steps up for 3. Corey, shooter's got to shoot, but he doesn't get the result he wanted there. Tyler Scott takes it back up the floor the other way. Scott just stops, puts the shot up. That was inside the arc, so that would have been a 2. But the shot, no good, comes down again to the Magic. Brent Jennings gives it off to Al. He'll just survey the floor now as the Magic set up in their half court. Caliste runs out to get that ball from Al. Right back to Stewart, 8 on the shot clock. Over to Corey Almond on the wing. He steps inside. Ball moving, Caliste got to put it up, and he does from the outside.
That's
Jason
his spot.
Caliste, you said it, that's his spot, and he makes no mistake with the triple.
J stands for jumper with Jason, and he loves that little wing shot on each side of the floor. He's so comfortable when he's walking into it.
Stringer, that shot goes off the back of the rim and rebounded by Denzel Taylor. Again, you see Al Stewart just kind of slowing the pace here. Caliste again. There's his spot.
The spot.
And he's 3 for 3 for Jason Caliste.
I think if it was snowing over there like it is outside, he would have been shooting from the same footprints. It was the exact spot, all 3 of those threes. And Island's got to get something going here with this second unit.
Dyke from the outside. That goes off the glass. Rebound there, as flying up over the back of the defender was Tyler Scott. So they're going to call the basket good, and they're going to give the foul to Caliste.
Yeah, a little wrestling match down there that Tyler Scott won, and that's going to be one of the ways that Island stays in this game, being physical and meeting the Magic head on in that way, because the Magic, we know, have been more physical team with teams in this building recently, and been one of the ways they've been successful, being physical with other teams and winning those one-on-one battles. They lost them at the start of the game last night. We talked about it being a storyline, and they overcame that.
Tyler Scott from outside after he missed the shot, but it was rebounded by Franklin Session.
A good box there by Denzel.
Franklin Session and Chris Johnson back into the game. Dyke Jr. takes a seat on the bench. Corey Almond faked the shot, and Henry right in his grill. And look at the smile on the face of Corey Almond, as he knew what he did there. That's a veteran play. Corey Almond, gotta love this guy, gotta love this team. I said it before, but I haven't said it in a while. The Moncton Magic lead the league in award-winning smiles.
They do. And look, this rule is a point of contention for me. I mean, I know Corey kind of threw up that shot, and it was smart. He was smart to do so, because you're going to get that call from the referees. I have trouble with this rule of basketball when you. I mean, I can understand giving that a side out of bounds foul, but giving the guy 3 shots on that is trouble for me. I don't like it, but it's certainly working out well here for Corey. He's automatic from the line.
Almond, 2 for 2, 42, 27, 15-point lead.
And Coach Kendrick is lobbying the referees, but the unblemished record of referees not reversing their calls continues. So referee Brett Stalker having a smile coming down the floor after that little chat.
The Island Storm having problems from the free throw line, but no problem there for Corey Allman as he goes 3 for 3. Stringer now being worked on by Kalish. Stringer steps back. That shot short. Rebounded by the Magic. Scooped up ahead for Jennings. Here comes Jennings now. Goes to the left hand. Zips it right back out to Kalish. Into the corner for Corey. Off the front of the rim. Denzel Taylor, look at him fight for the rebound, but Andre Stringer will bring it up. Stringer scoops it up. Tried to find Henry, and Henry is there. Couldn't get the putback. Rebound grabbed by Kalish, and he'll just protect that ball and get it up ahead now as here comes Al Stewart. Stewart by himself, floats it in and off the glass. Al Stewart, veteran move.
That was a tough one, had to double clutch it, and at the last second I think he realized he had to bank it in and got it to go.
Tyler Scott, corner 3, baseline, gets it to go, and the Storm needed that from Tyler Scott.
And does anybody have a prettier looking jump shot in this league than Tyler Scott? I say no. That belongs in a museum, that stroke of his.
Well, he did it for a long time with the UPEI Panthers at the AUS level and doing it here as a rookie for the Storm. And a nice look there, Denzel, easy to again.
Such a smart delivery from Jennings. He saw that Denzel had a steal there.
And Chris Johnson, bit of a dipsy-do move underneath the bucket, doesn't work. Al Stewart into the corner for Kalish. Well, there you go, Kalish, 4-3, Jason Caprice on fire.
And we see already with the Island what we saw last night from Cape Breton, the body language. Chris Johnson was shut off down low, and he slumped his shoulders, was slow getting back. And one of the reasons why Kalish had a wide open one in the corner, slow closeout.
8:07 to go, and the Magic have put 50 on the board and lead by 20. Scott with the step back. That one's no good. Nice job by Jerry and Henry, the big 6'10 guy, to grab that rebound. He's underneath now. Taylor comes over to challenge defensively, and that's going to be a foul on Denzel, and that's going to send Jerry and Henry to the line.
And again, the only thing kind of one of the things the Magic got to look to clean up here is these second shot opportunities. It hindered them a little bit last night, and it's hindered them a little bit again today. It's already 8 offensive rebounds for Island, and it's really the only thing keeping them within shouting distance. But man, if they could make free throws, would this ever be a different story right now, Scott Squires?
Well, the native of Long Beach, California, might be wishing for some sun and sand here for a little bit of luck. And again, right now, it's shooting from the charity stripe that's really hurting the Island Storm. They're getting opportunities, they're just not getting points.
4 for 16 now on the afternoon, compared with 5 for 6 for the Magic.
Into the corner, Al Stewart steps out from the wing. Checking into the game now for the Magic, Terry Thomas and Jeremy Williams look to come back in. Jason Kalish and Denzel Taylor will take a seat, and that foul on Denzel is his third.
His third as well.
That's something to keep an eye on. That's 3 on Cox, that's 3 on Denzel. 2 of their big inside presence.
And Anthony Cox back into the game now, 7:30 left with 3 fouls. Haven't seen Terrell Baines as of yet. Not sure if there's an injury concern for him or what, but
Stringer leaning in, shots no good, and look at Al Stewart get that rebound. Up ahead quickly for Corey Allman, all the way back outside to Terry Thomas. Williams wide open for 3 off the front of the rim, and he gets the bounce. When it's going good, it's going very good as Jay Will gets that one to bounce and drop.
Yeah, and he loves that one in transition where he walks into it, coming back from the backcourt, and he converts it, and another steal by Al Stewart.
Tried to go baseline bounce pass. Meshach Lufile into the game, one of the newer additions to the Island Storm, former member of the Cape Breton University Capers down there in Sydney, Nova Scotia. He wears 42 in blue for Cape Breton. He's a big lad, 6'8", 245 out of Burlington, Ontario.
A great start for Al Stewart here off the bench too. 6 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals already here in his limited minutes.
Turnover there as Maxwell takes it away. He goes up against Stewart, and Stewart in the open floor, going to get the foul called on him, so I believe that's the first on Al, and it is indeed.
A real smart play there by Al, too. That was 2 points guaranteed going the other way. And, yeah, just a poor communication there between teammates, though. They gave a pass to Jeremy, and could see it was Duvon Maxwell coming from behind him, and nobody told him.
So Session with the ball, gives it off, 6:42 to go in the half. It's a 23-point lead as Henry steps up on the smooth left-handed jumper from Jerry, and Henry drops.
And he can make that, so that's something you got to take into consideration. I mean, pick your poison with the Island lineup. If that's kind of the lesser of the evils, that's fine, but he can make that pretty consistently.
Stewart gives it off to Thomas, sees the opening for the three. Terry Thomas knocks it down.
Just blazing hot as Terry. He's only missed one on the night.
My goodness, if you're a opposing team here in Moncton, who do you defend on the three-point line? I don't think it really matters.
Not when they're playing like this, no.
Jerry and Henry backs in, dishes to Maxwell outside, puts the long-range jumper up. That's no good. Williams flies in. Session, though, gets the rebound. Shot doesn't go, but I think he's going to draw the foul. 56-32, 24-point advantage, 5:59 to go in this quarter.
Frank Session is such a weapon there with his ability to rebound the way he does. He's really one of the most athletic, pure athletic guys in the league, and it comes in such a small, lithe-looking package, but when he gets up, he is so explosive. And it's tough to box him out with his quickness, and if you don't box him out, he's going to beat you to that ball with such an explosive leap. And we're honoring here a guy I'd like to mention here, Mark McGetchie. He's a guy that's been that the Magic are recognizing here today. They do this once a game, but this is a guy I'd like to specifically recognize there. Mark McGetchie. He's run basketball camps in this town for years. He's a referee, real positive guy, and today I know you got some information on that. What he's here about today. He's not here with anything specifically basketball related, but Magic recognized him nonetheless. I know you got some information on that, Scott.
Yeah, you know, Mark doing a great job. He's brought a number of students here today that are part of Atlantic Educational International, and that's an organization that was formed in 1997 by the government of New Brunswick. And basically what it does is it provides world-class education opportunities to the global community through the New Brunswick Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. And it allows students anywhere from the age of 11 to 18 to come from around the world and be put into English language immersion experiences here in the New Brunswick public school system. So Mark doing great work and has about 150 of those students here today, part of that Atlantic Educational International program. So great to see Mark here, and we certainly want to welcome all of those students.
Yeah, and he's been, like I say, he's been a presence around the Moncton basketball community for a really long time. A guy who referees, still referees our men's league, and he's such a glutton for punishment doing stuff like that. Really little reward for a lot of abuse for the referees in our men's league, and he's one of the guys that comes out and sacrificial lambs it up for us.
So 5:59 to go here in the half. Session at the line, and again the cold time at the line continues for the Island Storm.
4 for 17 now.
And make it 4 for 18.
And a good effort there by Henry to get in, to kind of squeeze inside on J-Will, but lost the fight out of bounds as the story of the first half continues for Island.
24-point lead for the Magic. Williams, top of the key, gives it off to Allman. They'll work it around the wing now inside to Cox, back outside to Williams. Williams and Cox play catch. Defender falls down. Cox goes to the right hand, and there's about a 3 count on that one, but it goes in for the Magic as the Coliseum rims working magic for Moncton here today.
Henry wanted a foul there, but that was obviously a dive, and Terry just dominating the boards as well, looking so energized right now.
Tried to fire it away. That's a couple of ill-advised passes from Terry Thomas, but we'll forgive those given the effort that he makes all the time. Henry goes off the glass and in, and again, I've said it a couple times, but those are points in a bucket that are desperately needed by the Storm. Terry Thomas again under pressure from Henry as he tries to whip it away from Terry Thomas, and Jerry and Henry still going all the way down and puts it in the bucket for good measure, but he just committed a foul.
Yeah, not pleased about that call either. That one was good effort by Henry too, and he was close to a tie-up, but referees felt that he was a little bit too aggressive there with the hand.
So that's 3 on Jarian. Cox moves it around now, 15 on the shot clock. Anderson surveys, directing traffic, gives it off to Thomas on the wing. Thomas will pull his way in, scoops it up and under, shot no good. Session with the rebound, here come the Storm. Stringer puts it on the floor, takes it into the paint, floats it up, shot, gets his own rebound, and rolls around. My goodness, what the rims are doing for the Magic on the good side. They're not doing it for the Island Storm on the other side, and Corey steps up in front of the rim.
Ooh, that would have been a killer if he'd have gotten that one to go.
Here's Johnson now. Johnson bumps into Allman, steps back, shot no good. And the Island Storm have gone ice cold, not only from the free throw line, but now from the floor as well. And Thomas drops the shoulder, shot goes up, no good. Rebound right back to Terry. Again, he can't get it to go. Maybe had too much time to think about it there.
The lid's on for both teams at the offensive end here the last couple minutes.
4:10 to go. Johnson from outside, and again, when they need it, it's Chris Johnson this time who sinks the triple.
Yeah,
58-37.
That was big, but I mean, look, it's going to come down to stops here for the Storm, and the Magic are just so efficient and tight running their offense here right now. If it's not there, they give it up, and they take the next opportunity, and there goes Anthony Anderson. He almost got it to go.
Here comes Johnson, now transition the other way, 1-on-2. Johnson, the half Euro step, gets it to go, and he's going to go to the line, so Chris Johnson now trying to turn the tide here for the Island Storm.
We talked about him just being a professional scorer. He just knows how to get that ball in the hoop, and that was a good example. 1-on-2, looked ill-advised, but got that strength and that Euro step. Good balance, finish through contact. What more do you want from a scorer than that?
Should mention our officials for today's games, Brett Stalker, Jen McKenzie, and Paul Hansen. A good veteran crew this afternoon at the Coliseum. And Johnson from the line. And finally, says the Island Storm, we get a shot to go from the free throw line. It's an 18-point lead. And I guess the good news is that what was once a 26-point lead is now down to 18.
Yeah, we've seen, though, how good the Magic have been at ending halves, and there's a...
Denzel Taylor took that feed underneath as Thomas got on the ball. Taylor didn't get the shot to go, but he will go to the line to shoot.
Yeah, the Magic have been so good at ending halves and quarters recently that this run's great. You got back within 18, but can you finish a quarter? You talk about these kind of mental barriers that teams have about getting to spots to make themselves kind of feel better going into half. It's a tall task to ask Island to get back within 10 by the half, but if you're an Island Storm fan, you got to hope that it stays at least even here. If not, you just try to get a couple of more buckets back before this goes to a break.
Taylor 1 of 2 on his trip. Session again bulling his way in toward the lane, and his foul is going to be on Kalist, and that's going to send Franklin Session to the line.
And that's the kind of stuff you can't just give Frank Session, just a one hesitation move and a straight line drive right-handed to the lane. You got to give him more looks than that. At least make him work for it.
Session good on that attempt.
2 in a row free throws for the Island Storm. They got to think, okay.
Yeah, stop the presses. They're
get into a rhythm. Exactly.
Session looking to go 2 for 2 on this trip. That one rolls around, no good. So 1 of 2, 59-41.
Sorry, Island fans, bit of a jinx there.
Kalist puts it on the floor. Nice little move there, although it's tapped away. Good hands from Session.
Oh, what hustle by Jason.
Here comes Terry. Dishes to Jennings. Thought about the shot. Takes it into the paint. Dishes off. Tried to find Denzel baseline. And Brad Skates went down heavily to the floor. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, look at he hit his head after taking that charge. Good job by him. But, man, that was unbelievable athleticism by both guys there. The long arms of Frank Session to knock it away from Kalist, and then Kalist with the all-out dive to collect the ball on the floor.
3 minutes left to play in the half. Island Storm trying to get something going here, trying to chip away at this big lead that the Magic have built up. Johnson steps around. Shot's no good. Session with the rebound, and again Frank Session doing yeoman's work in the paint, draws the foul, and again he's going to go to the line.
And this is a storyline to start to look at here, and it's foul trouble for the Moncton Magic. That is now 3 on Kalist, 3 on Jeremy Williams, 3 on Denzel Taylor, 3 on Anthony Cox, and it is a whistle fest. You talk about a veteran crew, they're earning their money here today.
59-42. Island Storm, again, they've been getting lots of trips to the line, and they hit that one.
And timeout by Island here, and Coach Kendrick's up clapping. He's feeling a little more positive. He can be a little more positive with his club in this timeout. But this is a key stretch right here. If the Magic want to put this game away and have a mental edge at halftime here, this is the time. You step on a team's neck. You had them by 28. They've brought it all the way back to 15, 16 points here now. It's time to put the hammer down here. Go with your best play call out of this timeout, and start to give them the heads up. Like, okay, you had a nice stretch here. You came back on us, but this isn't a game you're going to be in. We're going to put the hammer down on you here before the half.
These two teams And we've seen a lot of good defensive play. We've seen a lot of quick hands on both sides, and it's no coincidence in the NBL, the Moncton Magic leading with 8.5 steals a game. That's best overall in the NBL. And right behind them at 8.3 steals per game, the Island Storm. So no surprise to see some of the nifty defensive work that we've seen.
Well, Maxwell and Devon Maxwell and Frank Sessions are so good. Frank Sessions, pardon me. I always want to pluralize his name. It's Frank Sessions, pardon me, Frank. They're so good with those long arms at poking those balls away in the ball handler. When you cross over in front of them, it's something you really got a game plan for and be conscious of. If you're careless with that crossover in front of you, Session and Maxwell are going to take that ball away. They've each done it at least once or twice here so far in this game. And it really is a weapon that they use to get themselves some easy buckets, and they've mission accomplished here for them in the first half a little bit for sure.
So let's see what the Magic have coming out of that Joe Salerno timeout. Anthony Anderson has the ball, gives it into Thomas. He was underneath some pressure now. Gets it inside to Taylor, back to Thomas, and again, good defense inside by the Storm, forced the turnover. Here comes Johnson, gets it to States underneath, and swatting it away there. I believe it was Jennings got a hand on it, but again, another foul on the Magic as the Storm continue to work that ball deep in the post and underneath the bucket.
Yeah, and the Magic are feeling like they're getting the bad end of the whistle here, but I mean, you got to take ownership of your situation here. You're giving them these easy opportunities down low. If you give them enough opportunities down there, you're gonna get whistles, and that's the Islanders doing a really good job this last 5-7 minutes of getting the ball deep.
So State's 1 of 2, and look at Osi fly in and get the rebound. Maxwell to Session from outside. They would have loved that. State's there, tries to take the rebound back, gets his own. Down to the floor, Denzel Taylor took a bit of a tumble. Had the Island Storm player fall on top of him, but he wouldn't let go of the ball.
And Brad States is arguing that call, but you can't just jump on top of a player on the floor, even if they got the ball. You can't just jump on top of them. And that didn't really grab the ball. He just sort of, like I say, just kind of jumped on top of Denzel, trying to fool the refs into calling a tie-up situation.
That's the second foul on Brad, the native of Bathurst, New Brunswick, playing here in his home province. He's D'ing up on Denzel. Inside to Jennings. Jennings goes up off glass and in. So a nice look inside from Denzel, and the finish from Jennings.
One of the things that he's gotten so much better at, he's able to put the ball on the floor two times out top if he's pressured.
There's some defensive pressure inside from the Magic, turning it over. Here's Thomas now, coast to coast. Thomas off the glass and in, one end to the other, and the bucket for Terry Thomas.
He just finds a way to get to that right hand that he's so strong with and finishes so well with.
Here's Maxwell now spinning, dumps it off to Session, went to the right hand. Good defense by Anthony Anderson inside, and here's the running back again. Thomas dishes to Jennings. Back to Thomas, all the way cross court. Good catch by Anderson in the corner. Caliste back to Jennings, corner three. Jennings rolls in and out. States with the rebound. Good ball movement. Nice look, but no finish on the shot. Maxwell inside, back outside. Johnson got Thomas, the defender, to commit in the air, and he's going to go to the line to shoot two.
Yep.
So that's push called on Thomas. That's the second on Terry.
They were lobbying for three there, but Johnson stepped inside the line after he went up for that shot fake.
Chris Johnson from North Preston in the Halifax Regional Municipality. Attended post-secondary at St. Bonaventure. And he hits from the line. And we talked about free throw percentage on the year as a team. The Island Storm not shooting well. 10th in the NBL at just 68.2 from the line.
Yeah, it's been a real struggle here tonight, but they've sort of turned the corner here a little bit right now, and they've made, I think that's 5, 6, 7 in a row that they've made, and it makes the percentages look a little bit better. But timeout here, Moncton with 1:09 left in the lead, now back to 17. So Island doing a good job of keeping this at least in shouting distance where they can go into the half and talk about some things, and talk about, listen, we turned the ball over a lot, missed a lot of free throws, got down almost 30. And look where we are, we're back in it. So this last minute and 9 seconds is really, really big for both teams heading into this half with see what mindset they can go in with.
And one of the big things that has been a huge part of the Moncton Magic game all season long has been rebounding. They're one of the better rebounding teams in the league. 3rd overall in the NBL, averaging just under 48 rebounds a game. But maybe, David, just a word about the big discrepancy in rebounding with the Magic in terms of offensive and defensive. They are first in the NBL at 15.6, but on the defensive side of things, they are 8th in the league. What can you kind of attest? Because usually you'll see a team much better on the defensive side of things rather than the offensive.
Well, see, and those numbers can be misleading too a little bit because it's all about style of play. And I think when you're as stout a defensive team as the Magic are, and you get a lot of turnovers. Okay, that can cut down on the amount of defensive rebounds that are available. So you look at rebounding margin is more the one to look at, right? So in and out in a game situation, are you out rebounding the other team consistently margin-wise? And that's where they rank at the top of the league. So the offensive rebounding has been something that's been a real strength for them. And I don't think they're a poor defensive rebounding team. I think that's indicative of a pace that they play at, the number of shots that they give up, and that can be lower when you get the as many turnovers as Moncton does.
They're going to call Chris Johnson. No, they're going to go it on Osi. Yep. So Osi with the foul, that's his first. Under a minute to play now in this half, 55.3 on the clock, 14 on the shot clock for the Magic as Kalist will inbound.
It's a specific play call here that they've made out of this. We'll see what they come up with.
Gives it off to Anderson. Osi tried to reach in for the steal. And they tried to feed it in, and I think they're going to get Osi again. So that's 2 quick ones on Kimmy.
And there have been very few whistles here so far in this second quarter for Island. But they're starting to add up. It's up to 6 there now.
Coach Joe Salerno just making sure, came down to the timekeeper's table.
And that's interesting. He asked how many fouls that was on Island, whether it was 5 or 6 before calling the timeout. I think he wanted to know. So I think that dictates what type of call he wants to make here out of the timeout. If they have a foul to give, it's a little bit different what he's going to call here for a play call out of this timeout. If they've got a foul to give, he might save a specific play call for when they don't. And I think that's dictating what he's going to call here out of this timeout. So he'll probably get something more going to the basket instead of running kind of a play for a wide open 3. He might get something that goes to the basket. And that way, if they don't make it, maybe they get bailed out with a foul and go to the line here now that they're in bonus.
And I talked about last night the consistency offensively of this Moncton Magic team. If you go back to that weekend series in St. John's last week, I talked about how they have done quarter by quarter. If this quarter ends the way that it should, that will make 13 out of the last 14 quarters that Moncton has outscored their opponent. And that is a hard thing to do if you're an opponent facing this team to try and win if you keep losing quarter
after quarter. Yeah, absolutely. And that speaks to the strength of the Magic bench here. We talked about at the start of the second quarter, the Island needing to win the bench battle to try to make this a tighter game, and they didn't. Magic jumped out to their largest lead with that bench doing it. Now, the starters have brought that back quite a bit. Like we said, they've done good work here to keep it within shouting distance, and we'll see how the half ends, and we'll see what play call that Coach Salerno called here out of the timeout.
49.4 on the clock, 13 on the shot. Anderson gets it off to Kalist. That's his spot, puts it on the floor instead, takes it in. Kalist up and underneath the bucket, and it was swatted away, so 39.9 to go.
Some good physical defense there by Session. Got a block shot on Jason as well.
5 seconds on the shot clock, so the Magic will have to get it up quickly once they get it in. Jennings being watched there by Maxwell. That shot is well short. Henry lobs it all the way down the court. That's going to go to nobody in particular except I think one of the Magic players on the end of the bench.
That was careless of Henry too. He threw it to a spot where he thought somebody was going, but I think he had some more. He's got to keep his balance down there. I think he had some time if he'd have just held it for another second maybe.
27 seconds on the clock. Nice ball movement here. Jennings again charges into the lane, gives it off to Kalist from outside, and Kalist this time from the other side, but the result is the same. It's a triple.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what spot he's got right now, getting that feel. And Jason's been deadly from the three-point line so far.
Storm almost turned it over. Shot clock is off. Final 5 seconds. Osi to the right hand, gets it to go. Moncton's got to hurry. Can they have some half-court magic again? Almost as Anderson put it up from the mid-half-court stripe. So the half comes to an end. Another good one offensively from Moncton as they put 66 points on the board. But if the Island Storm, I guess the good news is, what was approaching a 30-point lead at one time, they've crawled it back now to 18, and they started to get a little better from the free throw line.
Yeah, and if you're Coach Kendrick, you can talk that stuff up a little bit. Look, we struggled. Okay, we missed so many shots from the line. We turned the ball over a little bit. We had some adversity. They were making some threes. But look where we are. We're down 18 points. That's not it. We've talked about this league of runs. An 18-point lead in the NBLC is not by any means a comfortable lead. And so he can talk to his guys, and he's been very positive over there on the sidelines with them, and I think he can remain that way. Look, we've done some good work to crawl this back. And look, the storyline, you can point to some things on the Magic side too. Look at the foul situation for Moncton. We went through it. Kalist, 3. Denzel, 3. Anthony Cox, 3. Jeremy Williams, 3. Several other guys with 2. If they can keep playing that physical style the way they've been playing, work the ball inside, they can get them in even bigger foul trouble, get to the line, and if they start converting, then this lead can be crawled back even more.
Well, we've got one of the younger Salernos, Joe's son Cam, snapping a few pictures for us. One of the photographers here for the Magic.
He makes us look so good. I love that kid.
He does indeed. He should hang out with me more often because not many people can make me look good, trust me. So before we step aside, leading scorers for the Island Storm at the half, Chris Johnson with 12, Franklin Session and Devon Maxwell with 11 apiece, and for the Moncton Magic, Jason Kalist and Terry Thomas leading the way, 16 apiece, and then Jeremy Williams, Corey Allman, Williams with 8, and Corey with 6. So we'll step aside, take a break. In the meantime, enjoy the entertainment from Dance Chaos. They did a great job before the game, and they're going to entertain you now at the half. Dave and myself will be back with the second half in about 13 minutes. 2 quarters in the books. It's the Moncton Magic with a 66-48 lead over the Island Storm. You're watching Moncton Magic basketball live from the Coliseum. We'll be back. just about set for the second half of action between the Island Storm and the Moncton Magic. Scott Squires along with my broadcast partner, Dave Tingley. We are at the Moncton Coliseum, 66-48 after the first 24 minutes. And just to recap you on some of the foul situations, Jerry and Henry with 3 personals, Franklin Session, Kimiosi, and Brad States with 2 each. It's a little more dicey for the Moncton Magic, David. Jason Calise, Jeremy Williams, and Denzel Taylor, along with Anthony Cox, all with 3 fouls. Terry Thomas, Anthony Anderson, and Brent Jennings with 2 apiece. Yeah,
and really the storyline when I think of that first half, I mean, it's an 18-point lead for the Magic, and they really haven't played very well. Like, let's be honest here. If the Island were even making, they're not. You mentioned in the first half, they're not a great free throw shooting team. However, even if they'd shot the free throws at their normal level, which is around 70%, this would be they'd be up around 60 points. This would be a 6-8 point game somewhere in there. And when you think about the Magic, as well, they played defensively recently, giving up 60 points. That's not something they're used to. They wouldn't be happy with that. So it's not as if they've played supremely good basketball in that first half. It was messy. They had a lot of. Island got a lot of hustle points, keeping balls alive. That's how they got the ball down in the key. A lot of straight line drives, and the Magic were forced to foul. So they're going to look to clean that up and get back to playing the defensive basketball that they're used to.
And you're right. I mean, the Island Storm had problems from the free throw line. They got a little better down the stretch in that second quarter. But you're right, for the Moncton Magic, not exactly one of their more stellar, crisp offensive halves, but again, they've got 66 points on the board. But
they shot the ball well. They shot the ball well.
They had some uncharacteristic turnovers. They had some opportunities that maybe they would like to have back. So all in all, 18-point lead, not a bad place to be at home to start the second half. But certainly the first 5 minutes or so of this third quarter will be key for both teams.
It was more of a defensive issue. I mean, they did definitely have some turnovers that they like back, but 25 made field goals, 20 assists on those 25 made field goals. That's pretty efficient offense, but those turnovers, they didn't transition well, and they gave up layups. And then in the half court, they gave up a lot of offensive rebounds, 11 offensive rebounds in the first half for Island, and that's a huge number.
So here we go, third quarter just about to get underway. Storm will now be going left to right, wearing those snazzy blue uniforms with the orange and white trim. Magic right to left, and we are underway. Henry with the ball, gets it to Stringer. Nice look inside to Henry. He dishes to the wing. Johnson steps in, floats it up. Thomas with the rebound. Here come the Magic in transition. Thomas stops now, puts his back to the defender, gives it off to Anderson. Anderson directs some traffic. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Henry out on Taylor. Taylor to Williams, now to Corey Allman. 6 seconds on the shot clock. They got to do something. Allman swings it to Thomas. Thomas steps in from about 20 feet. Shot clock expired, and the shot rolls around the rim.
A good crash there by J-Will. He had the matchup. They got a switch, and Session was on him, and got about 6 inches on Session and made him work for it. Didn't get the box out nailed, and J-Will gives him another possession.
Anderson to inbound. Thomas. Allman for a 3 with a hand in his face. Corey.
Great screen by J-Will. Free him up, but he wasn't able to convert.
Stringer on the wing again. He'll get it back now. It's Andre Stringer directing traffic. Didn't call his name a whole lot in that first half, but he's a player that can get things going for the Storm. Yeah,
they're going to need him. He's been struggling, and the struggles continued in the first half, shooting the ball. They're going to need him to drain a couple here if they're going to get this back into single digits.
Shot clock expires for the Storm on that possession. Stringer made the run. Couldn't get the shot to drop. Anderson now puts it on the floor, gives it off to Williams. Williams goes to the left hand, lays it in. Smart play there. Anderson got it to Williams, and Williams with the finish.
Double A got Jerry and Henry to bite so hard on a fake crossover, and just set up that whole movement for Jeremy to get the layup.
Maxwell into the corner. Johnson well over the rim. Rebounded there by Session underneath. Johnson gets it back, and he gets the easy putback. So Johnson with the bucket, 68-50 here. Just the first couple of minutes of quarter number 3. Anderson underneath, and pretty move by Double A.
Yeah, and a good hand dribble handoff there too, and It's this end of the floor where the Magic are going to have to turn the screws here to close this one out. Another offensive rebound. Kind of bad luck that last possession, but...
Session with a bit of a stutter step move. Gets the tough-looking shot to go. Franklin Session.
Can't do much about that. That's just a tough finish of a tough shot.
Anderson now. Stringer right in his face. Williams swings it around as the Magic work it around the perimeter. Terry Thomas lowers his shoulder, bulls his way in. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
It's so tempting. Devon Maxwell did such a good job sliding with Terry as he got to his right hand. It's so hard to get those hands out of there. And you've done such a good job. You've slid with him. You're making him make a tough shot. You still get tempted to swipe at the ball the way he did there.
Terry hits from the line. Meanwhile, just in front of our position here, Devon Maxwell having a animated discussion with Paul Hansen, one of the officials. Terry looking to go 2 for 2 this trip. Off the back of the rim, Johnson flies in to grab the rebound, lobs it up ahead for Jerry and Henry tried to use every bit of that long reach of his to corral that pass, but it goes out of play, and they'll turn it over to the Magic.
They ran the jet pattern and well defended by the safety, Denzel Taylor there in that situation. I went all John Madden on you there a little bit.
You're cross-pollinating your sports.
Tony Romo, okay. My Tony Romo.
Here comes Anderson now. He'll bring it up the floor. Stringer, only guy up on defense, but he's pressuring Anthony. Look at double A all the way, coast to coast. Anthony Anderson takes it one end to the other, gets the bucket, and he'll go to the line for the and one.
That's what he did such a good job with last night. The Cape Breton Highlanders, they tried to get up on him and be physical with him, make him turn the ball over, make him work, and he just kept attacking. He's done a good job at that again tonight. Attack the tough defensive Stringer.
Anthony converts, so 74-52, 9:15 to go, third quarter. Stringer puts it on the floor against Anderson, leans the body, put the shot up, gets his own rebound. Thomas gobbles up the rebound, and then Stringer is going to foul him from behind.
That defensive Denzel Taylor, I mean, it's just over and over again, the disruptive influence he is on defense. Denzel did such a good job sliding over there to help double A and take that, intimidate Stringer and play it without fouling as well.
That went off the fingertips of the Island Storm defender, back into the hands of Anderson. He puts the shot up from outside. Anthony couldn't get that to drop. Franklin Session with the rebound, puts it into the hands of Johnson. Nice dish to Henry underneath. Henry goes to the left hand. He'll get the bucket and go to the line for the and one as well.
Nice play there by Johnson on the break. Just a pretty underhanded feed. And if you're Jeremy Williams, if you got a guy like Henry going up, if you're going to try, you can't finesse it. You got to wrap him up. Make him make the shots at the line. Don't give him a love tap and give him a free point.
That's 4 on Jeremy as Jarian hits the 1. So the 3-point play converted. Williams out of the game. Brent Jennings back onto the floor. So Jennings into the game. Jeremy will sit with his 4 fouls.
Guys like Jennings and Al are going to have to play probably bigger minutes here in the second half,
Thomas
being one of the few not in foul trouble.
Shot no good from Thomas, rebounded by the Storm. Here comes Stringer. Johnson, little stutter step, gets it off to Session. Nice dish to Maxwell. Stringer from the outside, open for 3. Shot's no good. Session again flies in. Rebound bouncing around. Henry gets it. Inside Session, another chance at it. Bodies and arms flying everywhere. And finally, it's the Magic who come down with it. And it's Jennings to Anderson. Little dish to Thomas. Corner 3. Thomas. No good. Maxwell gobbles it up, and here come the Storm again. 20-point advantage for the Magic. Little dish to Johnson. He goes high off the glass and gets it to go.
He wanted a foul, too, and he think he deserved one. I think Terry gave him a little tap there as well.
And getting ready, stretching just below our position here, Terrell Baines getting ready to come into the game for the Magic. We've been wondering where he's been, especially with so many Magic players in foul trouble. And number 0 for the Magic. See Baines going to check in.
See some big minutes from him here, I think. And they're going a bit of a bigger lineup here with both Denzel and Terrell on the floor, and also Brent Jennings, probably one of the bigger lineups the Magic can field.
And the ball turned over. Here comes Mad Max, gets it to Stringer. Andre dishes to Henry, floats it in, mishandled it. Ball's loose. Henry has it, goes to the left hand. Denzel Taylor flies in to grab the rebound, and the Magic will have that ball. Taylor up ahead now for Jennings. He's got Baines in the corner, thought about the shot, gives it back to Jennings. Anderson now. He'll just slow it down and step back.
He's got a matchup he likes. I think he's going to Teo, and he does.
Bit of a stumble. Takes it inside. Knocked away. Couldn't get it inside. Session up the floor. Stringer from the outside. Andre Stringer, and if he heats up, that could spell trouble for the Magic. And Coach Joe Salerno smells it, and he calls time.
Yeah, real indifferent kind of start to this second half here from the Magic. Some careless stuff, some missed box outs again over and over, some repeated opportunities for Island, and really the Magic have got to be really feeling fortunate to be up 15 at this point. I mean, they've given up so many second shot opportunities to the Storm, some converted, some not. So many missed free throws, and I mean, this, if they had been playing, if they've been playing at the level at which they were playing last night, you can only imagine this would be another 40-point lead probably at this point. But they're playing, it just kind of feels indifferent, not making the right offensive decisions, a little bit three happy, giving up a good shot to get a better one. It's a little bit just indifferent right now, and I think that's kind of what Coach Salerno is going to be in their ear about.
Yeah, it just seemed a little bit out of sync, but again, as we say all that, you look up and it's still a 15-point lead. But I guess if you're the Island Storm, the good news is you may start to feel that tide of momentum starting to shift just a little bit. I know it's only early here in the third quarter with 7:15 to go, but the Island Storm have outscored the Magic 11-8 here in this third quarter.
And the count is up now to 17 offensive rebounds, and the bulk of those are Franklin Session. He's up to 15 points, 11 boards for your point guard. When you're giving up 11 boards to the opposing team's point guard with 7 minutes left in the second quarter, he's sneaking in there so often. I mean, look, you gotta make a decision. Somebody's got to get tough-minded and say, look, I'm going to get a body on people and start blocking these people out.
A real good crowd on hand here as well this afternoon on a Sunday afternoon. Both sides of the Moncton Coliseum filled in quite nicely. And of course the usual suspects sitting along the floor and at both ends here being treated so far to a delightful afternoon if you're a Moncton Magic fan. Although right now they're seeing the Island Storm get a little bit of rhythm going here and starting to chip away at this lead. And another turnover, perhaps no, as it comes down to Baines.
Lucky. Very lucky. Careless pass. And this is about, we talked about it before the timeout, this is about the biggest lineup that the Magic are going to field with AA at the point guard, Terry at the 2, Brent at the 3, and Terrell and Cox up front. Can't get much bigger than that lineup.
12 on the shot. Terry puts it up.
Really nice set play, but Terry just didn't get it to go.
Here's Johnson now. He's been on fire here early to start this third quarter. Chris Johnson directing traffic. Little behind the back pass to Lufile. Shot put up from Shaq Lufile. That's no good. Rebound chance was there. And they got another offensive board. Session got a hand on it. Maxwell steps into a 3. Bounces high off the iron. And the Magic will rebound it. Terry Thomas, who is the leading rebounder on this Magic team, coming in averaging just over 6.5 boards a game. Cox gives it off, and again, they're going to call the foul on Jennings, I believe.
Good call. The Session was up in his grill, and Brent had to push him off to get rid of him, and Brent's saying he had a hold of his jersey. So not arguing too much with the referee, but just getting a bug in her ear, say, hey, look for this next time. That's a good strategy to use with the refs. Look, I'm not mad at you, but look, can you look for this next time? Because I think that's why I was pushing off.
Third foul on Brent. He'll sit now. Back into the game is Jason Calise. Stringer gives it off to Maxwell. Baines on him. That's a good physical matchup. Maxwell underneath to the other side and scoops it in. Mad Max with the bucket.
Terrell just giving away a little bit of quickness there. Similar size matchup, but a little bit of quickness advantage to Devon on that first step.
Here's Calise now. Session on him. Inside to Thomas. Scoops underneath. Goes off the glass. Gary Thomas bulls his way into the paint. Don't look now, Magic fans. But this is down to a 13-point lead, and that, again, that psychological barrier of double digits. Right now, the Island Storm are very close to breaking it and getting underneath a double-digit Magic lead.
It's a pesky, scrappy, come up with all the, look up in the thesaurus, come up with all the adjectives you can, but that's what this has been right now. It's been all heart here for Island, keeping themselves in the game and making second shot opportunities. And Franklin Session, I mean, that's got to be, of his 12 boards, that's got to be 8 or 9 offensive boards for him. And back up to a 15-point lead now, and the Magic have got to look to make a statement here with your defense and with making a more concerted effort here on the glass.
Session with some pace, kicks it out to Johnson. Nice pass to Maxwell. Thought about the shot, puts it down. Now Lufile, baseline, soft jumper. In and out, down into the hands of Anthony Anderson. In transition, it's the Magic with numbers. He kind of holds up, though, and the Storm get back. Anthony now, the veteran, will just slow it down. He calls the half-court offense here with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Anthony steps around the screen from Cox, gets it to Baines, inside to Cox. Only 5 on the shot clock. Baines underneath. Tried to put it up against the double team, and Baines will go to the line to shoot 2.
Real good big-to-big movement there. Terrell went to the high post. Anthony cut. If he'd have caught it cleanly, he probably had a layup, but was able to gather himself. Terrell recognized, made a strong cut himself, and got it right back from Anthony.
That's the 4th foul on Franklin Session, so Coach Kendrick will put Session on the bench for a bit. Tyler Scott back into the game for the Island Storm as Baines shoots the free throw, and he hits the first.
That's a big one. Session has just been so bothersome, especially in the offensive glass. Even when the Magic are collecting those, he's getting hands on them and forcing guys like Terry Thomas to bat the ball to teammates, because Session is just so long and athletic and getting up above the rim.
Baines 1 for 2 on that trip. Storm will rebound. Scott Squires, Dave Tingley, and our NBL Canada crew bringing you this Moncton Magic basketball game live from the Coliseum on a Sunday afternoon. Glad to have you with us wherever you are. Of course, want to welcome in fans of the Island Storm. OC steps back. That shot's no good. Baines flies in over top of Johnson, down to the floor, and Johnson right over top of Baines, clapping the hands after the call from the official.
Yeah, that's interesting by Johnson. A little pretty intense, but that was a good rebound. Good rebound by Terrell. Just the circumstance there was coming down on somebody's back.
Lufile gets it into the hands of Tyler Scott. He'll work it over to Osi. He bobbled it for a minute. Tyler Scott now to Maxwell as the Storm work it around the perimeter in the half court. Maxwell had the open shot, dishes it off to Osi. That 3 ball is good. And now it's a 77-64 game as Osi hits from outside the arc.
Osi's rounded into form as a dependable kind of 3-point shooter. He wasn't to start the year, but lately he really has been.
Here's Baines spinning in the paint. That shot no good.
Kind of lost it on the way up and ended up kind of volleyball batting it towards the rim. And if this is going to turn into a, you talked about that single-digit lead, we're approaching that here very soon. And
Johnson floated it from the baseline, bounced off the iron. Anderson back the other way. Thomas, he's open for 3. Maybe had a foot on the line. That is a 2. But still the bucket good. Back to a 15-point advantage. And I'm sure that the Magic are also mindful of that double-digit barrier. Osi working through a crowd, kind of methodical there. Lufile again, corner from the baseline, and Meshach Lufile, the big man from Burlington, hits the bucket.
He looks comfortable out there. We haven't seen Lufile yet. He's been injured for most of the year. But apparently he's comfortable taking it. It's 3 that he's taken. Got the 3rd one to go.
Anderson tries to float it in. Maxwell swats it away. And that'll bring back into the game Chris Anderson for the Storm, Al Stewart for the Magic.
Surprised that Al hasn't made an earlier entry into this 3rd quarter, but as we know with Al, the game changes when he comes in, and he had a great first half, and we'll see if he can bring that energy here to kind of a deflated a little bit, the feeling the crowd here and amongst the lineup a little deflated here, even with a 13-point lead.
Dyke Jr. into the game now as Lufile takes a seat. Kalist puts that shot up and away. We've got a call on Terrell Baines, I believe.
It is. This is becoming a real problem.
I guess the good news is Baines, that's just his first.
Yeah, but it's kind of a mental thing here. The Magic are getting into a headspace where, well, can I set a screen that's legal? And I'm not saying the referees are making the wrong call, but it's definitely an area of frustration here for them right now.
Scott with that release, smooth as it was, the shot didn't drop. Back the other way now, Al Stewart to Thomas. Thomas steps back against Dyke Jr., puts it into the hands of Al Stewart, tries to go into a crowd, a big size mismatch as Al tried to go into the middle there against Dyke Jr. and Tyler Scott, and Al looks like he's going to go to the line, and that's what Al does. He gets that ball, he puts it on the floor, he puts pressure on the defense, and again, I nicknamed him last year the spark plug, and he's had the ability to do it as of late again for the Moncton Magic.
He's such a blur with that quickness, and just like we talked about in the first half with Island, if stuff's not going right for you, just get that ball in the paint. And good stuff's going to happen. You're going to get foul calls. You're going to get bounces that go your way if you get that ball in the paint. And worked out well for Al.
So Al, good from the line, 81-66. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Island Storm, scrappy bunch, chipping away at this lead. Storm working the ball now. Magic wanting a defensive stop here. Tyler Scott spinning around baseline, looking for somewhere to go with that ball. 6 seconds on the shot clock, gets it into Anderson. He's in trouble as he tries to put it up against a crowd, and he's going to draw the foul, and Chris Anderson will go to the line.
We haven't seen much Anderson today, which is a real surprise for me. He's had his playing time limited. It's definitely been Coach Kendrick's preferred to have Henry on the floor, but Anderson's been so good since he got to the island there 5-6 games ago. I'm shocked that he hasn't had more of a presence here in this game.
Anderson, a native of Muskegon, Michigan. Attended Louisiana Tech in his post-secondary, 6'6" power forward. Missed the first, looks to connect on the second, and he gets the bounce and the draw.
His first point of the game for Anderson.
Al Stewart shrugs off Osi, gets the ball right back. Look at Al, takes it in deep, gives it off to Cox. Cox rejected by Maxwell.
So quick off his feet is Devon.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Baines looking intense, gets it inside. Thomas is there, spins, gets the bucket, and Terry, there's the
primal scream of Terry Thomas. You see one or two a game. And a pretty backdoor play, and Terrell Baines he's so effective with the ball in his hands in the post because of that. He's completely unselfish, and he's not a huge, he's more of a spot-up shooter as Terrell. He's one of those post guys that loves spotting up and playing off others. He doesn't get a lot of, and great hands by Terry.
Over Baines, sees
there
the
it
shot.
is. That's his shot right there. It normally goes down, but what he's great out of the post at is passing the ball.
Nice look underneath. Anderson to Maxwell and the bucket.
And that's one place where Island's been much better than the Magic here this afternoon is transition defense. Storm's been getting back real well, keeping things under wraps, but in the transition offensively, Moncton's been very lax. I think that's one area that when you go back and look at this tape, this coach Salerno and the staff, they're going to see that's an area in which to emphasize that they struggle at for sure.
So second foul on Dyke Jr. as Cox was battling with him underneath the bucket. Coach Kendrick letting his thoughts be known to the official Jen McKenzie, saying, what do you want him to do? Cox from the line, needing these free throws. He misses the first. And you kind of get the sense that free throws are going to become of paramount importance in the fourth quarter as this game has tightened up just a little bit here in the third.
And Storm are approaching 50% from the line after starting 4 for 16. And the Magic are going the other way. They started 6 for 7, and they're down to 70% on the game.
Anderson steps into that shot.
Good box there by Jason Calise. Real good box out.
Long pass ahead for Stewart. Al almost lost the handle there as Devon Maxwell came over defensively, and I think Devon took a little bit of contact up around the neck there. He looks okay though.
He'll be fine, but yeah. That's again, just the pressure that Al puts on you. He's so physical and so athletic, and for a little guy, he's just so powerful when he gets moving at full speed too. It's tough to knock him off the ball.
So that's the fourth now on Devon as Mad Max will take a seat on the bench for the Island Storm. Meanwhile, Al Stewart at the line here. 1:36 left to go in the third quarter. It's an 84-69 lead for the Magic. Al misses the first.
Yeah, another miss and another chance to spread the lead goes awry, but again, it's held pretty steady at 15 here, but you get the sense that there's going to be another run here. And is it going to be Island that makes the run and makes this closer, or Moncton that makes the run and put the game away?
Here's Osi with some pace being defended there by Al Stewart.
And it was Osi
putting the foul on Al.
Osi putting the pressure on Al that time. You don't often see Al caught flat-footed, but he was a little bit there. I don't think he was expecting Osi to try to make some offense for himself.
That's the second foul on Al. 18 on the shot clock as the Storm inbound the ball. Osi, he's had lots of energy here in the last half of this third quarter. Cox swats away the rebound and then grabs it and and he'll work it up the floor. 1:20 to go. Gets the ball into the hands of Al Stewart. Al will step back now, looking for somewhere to go with it. Calls now and gives it into the hands of Corey Allman. Haven't heard a whole lot from Corey lately, although he'll try to change that. And Corey, as I said it, he must have heard me because he's been wanting to get on that phone, and he dials long distance there with the triple.
Only takes one. That's not his most comfortable way of converting from the line. Dribbling into one right-handed. That's not normally his preferred way, but he was feeling it.
So Corey, we'll see if that now opens up things up a little bit for Allman. Here's Baines. Backing the defender in. Baines steps into the paint, goes to the left hand off the glass, couldn't get the roll, and Jerry and Henry gets the rebound and puts it into the hands of Tyler Scott for the Storm. Under a half minute to go in the third quarter.
I think Henry got a piece of that going up too, put a different spin on it when it bounced off the cylinder. It wasn't able to go down from Terrell. And
Henry steps back, smooth looking left-handed jumper from the big 6'10" guy. 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. Shot clock is off as Cleast will bring it up now, and the Moncton Magic will work it here for the last shot. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Cleast from the wing. Cleast again. Mr. Cathries turnover. Has a chance. Just couldn't get it at the buzzer.
Just after the buzzer. And I think if Jason had known, I think if he got the defender off the floor. If he'd have gone right up, he might have had 2 free throws to end the quarter. But good effort by Jason. And look, just when you think, I mean, the gym's kind of dead in here. It's kind of a dead mood, and then all of a sudden, from one side of the floor, the DC sniper knocks in a 3. From the other side of the floor, to end the quarter, there goes Jason Cleast knocking it down, and all of a sudden it's back to 20.
And that now is 14 of the last 15 quarters that the Moncton Magic had won. The Island Storm were looking to end that streak, but
late push with the threes.
With that 3 ball just close to the buzzer by Cleast, the Magic win that quarter 25-23. And it may sound simplistic, but it's simple math. If you keep winning every quarter, you're more often than not gonna win the game.
And how much of a weapon is that 3-point shot for the Magic? It just continues game after game after game. They get going through a cold streak, and just all of a sudden they rattle off a couple threes, and it makes such a difference. And when you're trading 2s for 3s in any league, it's the math's not going to work there for you either.
And sometimes I call a little too deeply inside the numbers and the analytics, but when you look at the 2 teams coming in, the Moncton Magic and the Island Storm, Moncton was shooting just over 44% from the field, and the Storm just over 44%. Right now in this game, it's a 20-point lead for the Magic, and if you look at field goal percentage, 50% from the floor for the Magic, only 33% for the Storm. So the Storm well below their season average, the Magic significantly above, and you add it up, again, maybe it's simplistic, but you add that up, and simply put, Magic shooting better from the floor, they lead by 20.
Yeah, and Island aren't, what that speaks to is Island not taking full advantage of the good work, the good hustle work they've done, particularly on the offensive glass. Up to 19 offensive rebounds now. All those second chances, not converting them at a high percentage, and if they were converting from the line, and we've talked about it, this would be a much different game.
Leading scorers for the Island Storm through 3 quarters, Franklin Session, Devon Maxwell with 15 each, Chris Johnson with 14, Terry Thomas leading the way with 23 for the Magic, Cleast with 19, Anderson and Williams with 10. Fourth quarter underway. Cleast, he's been hot from outside the arc, but decides to give it inside to the Ant-Man. Anthony Cox wearing the Joker socks today, keeping his cartoon sock theme alive.
Well defended there by Island. They ran that double kind of pin down.
Stringer from outside, shots no good. Look at Cox.
Good box out by
Great box
Ant-Man.
out as he got position on Henry to get that rebound.
As I said, they ran that double pin down. One pin down for Corey and the next pin down for Cleast. They're 2 3-point shooters, and they shut it down.
The Magic, typically a very strong fourth quarter team, a great finishing team, as Al Stewart steps up and hits the smooth jumper from about 14 feet.
And Al's been one of those stat sheet stuffing days for Al off the bench.
Here's Johnson now back into the game, gets it outside. Franklin Session puts the shot up. That goes off the front of the rim, rebounded nicely there by the Magic. They'll bring the ball up before Al Stewart slowing it down again.
Al up to 11 with 7 assists and 5 boards.
Anthony Cox puts it into the hands of Khalees. Baines now to Allman. Corey dishes inside to Baines. Smooth move underneath and T. Baines gets the bucket.
Corey, such a threat off of that screen, and he's making good decisions on when to put the ball up himself and when to give it up to that roll man. He makes him even more effective, and he's got such good feel for that right now.
So just a minute and a half into this fourth quarter. We knew the first few minutes of this quarter would be important for both teams. And the Magic have come out and extended that lead now to 24 points. Anthony Cox comes out with a big grin on his face. Denzel Taylor back into the game for the Moncton Magic.
When does Ant-Man not have a big smile on his face?
Hashtag truth. Andre Stringer puts it into the hands of Johnson. Nice dish there to Henry. Henry tried to go off the glass, gets his own rebound, and somehow slapped it up and in.
Bad luck there. Good rotation over by Terrell on the baseline defensively. Just got a bad bounce there.
Baines, very high up. Gives it into Corey Allman now. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Corey puts it on the floor. Johnson out on him. Corey nowhere to go. Gets it to Khalees. Puts it up with 2 hands in his face. Cathreese again from outside.
And again, a great decision by Corey off of that ball screen. The reverse dribble, finding Khalees as the open guy behind him.
Nice look there as Henry got it to Session. Session had the open look and makes no mistake as he gets the 2.
And Al tapping himself in the chest saying that's my fault. Corey trying to take the blame as well.
Corey Allman working it around now. Session out on him. Henry comes to help. Tried to get it to Khalees. Khalees lost the handle and Johnson quickly grabs it. Takes a look, finds Session. Back door and Session again takes it in and rolls it in.
And that would have been a place probably where Khalees could have taken a foul. Didn't have numbers, probably could have taken it in the backcourt. Made Island run a set play.
Baines has that ball now, finds it, cutting Al Stewart, and Al goes in to the left hand and gets the basket.
And Terrell, another great decision there off the top, and called a set play there, and they have those 2 big guys come out, and most of the time they're running a screen, but very quickly Al dumped the pass to Terrell, and while the ball was still in the air, used that spark plug quickness of his to split the defense and make himself available for Terrell on the dime.
Here's your time to shine, Dave. It's the Magic dance camp. I can only convince the camera operator to come over here. See some of your dance moves.
I have generously donated to the cameraman's retirement fund to not bring him over here, both dance cam time and kiss cam time.
Fair enough. Well, you know, we've talked about the explosiveness and the offensive rhythm that the Moncton Magic have been in. 9:06 left to go in the fourth quarter, and again the Magic at the century mark. And it's worth mentioning again, still time to go in this game. The Island Storm are going to do all they can, but again they trail by 23. And for the Moncton Magic, winning 4 of the last 5, I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again, the margin of victory in those 4 games, 22 points.
Yeah, and when you, again, I mean, the feeling of this building's kind of a, yeah, okay, we're up by 23, but you just kind of get that feeling, and the same feeling I have, just, all right, it's a 23-point lead, but it hasn't been a overwhelmingly great performance by any means. You look at the stuff, the way the Islands kept Moncton in the game with missing some bunnies and missing some free throws and turning the ball over a little bit, and the number of offensive rebounds Moncton's give up not being sound there. It's just kind of an feeling right now, and I think it would behoove Moncton to go into this another kind of week-long break here before we have them back here next weekend, to really have a concerted effort here in the fourth quarter to clean some things up. And I don't think the game's in doubt. I think a 23-point lead safe here with 9:06 to go, but clean some things up, get a good feeling going for these fans here as they leave the building.
Well, again, for the majority of this season, because these teams played quite a bit in the first couple of months, it was the Island Storm who really had the Moncton Magic's number. But we harken back to that game right here at the Coliseum on January 24th, when the Magic got that Storm off of their back with the 113-88 win, and they're looking for another convincing one here. But still, 8:53 to go. The Storm will have something to say about it. This is Henry trying to back down the defender. Shot goes up and it rolls around and didn't go.
But another missed box out.
So that's going to be on Denzel Taylor. That's the 4th on Denzel. So again, a number of Magic players now getting up into red flag territory in terms of the number of personal fouls. Maxwell has that ball. He just calmly works his way in, goes to the right hand, gives it to Henry. Henry thought about the shot, steps back instead. Outside to Maxwell, Baines on him. Maxwell takes it baseline, tries to scoop it underneath. That would have been pretty if it had gone, but Johnson gets the rebound.
Another offensive board. It's just lather, rinse, repeat here right now for the Island.
Johnson misses the shot, taps it back, and the Island Storm on that sequence owning the offensive glass.
Yeah, and we're not used to seeing Denzel Taylor getting owned underneath the glass, but Jarian Henry is owning him right now.
Jarian Henry, third on this Island Storm team. Rebounds per game coming into this one at 6.3. Nice little dish. And to Baines, and Baines hammers it down. T. Baines taking frustration out of the Coliseum rim.
Just calm, cool, and collected was Al and Denzel against the pressure there. They just made the right play. Denzel made the right play right back, and Terrell Baines with the flush.
Henry misses the long-distance jumper, and Al Stewart will calmly bring it up the floor for the Magic. Al swings it over to Terrell. To Calise from outside. Jason Calise, my goodness, like put butter on bread, smooth as you please.
So confident, no hesitation from him. He
Session back the other way, speaking of smooth, and he spins into the paint and gets the pretty bucket.
And Al took a shot there on that spin, but he's so long and lanky.
24 points is the lead, 7:10 to go in the fourth quarter. Here's Baines, moments ago with the power jam. Gives it off to Al Stewart, goes in against Session. Al steps back, gets the rebound. Al puts it up and under. Al Stewart with the nice move in, the offensive rebound, and the putback for the Dukes.
And now I think Al just decided the next time I get the ball, if I'm one-on-one with Session, I'm going back at him. He took a shot there from Session, all arms and elbows there as Session on those spins. It's tough to get away from those elbows, and Al took a shot. Said, I'm going right back at him the next time I get a chance to, and he did. And Marquise Clayton comes in and gives Al a spell here. Well, Marquise had a great finish in the fourth quarter last night.
He did. He came in when the game was certainly well out of reach for the Cape Breton Highlanders, but he played some really good minutes. He had a couple of three balls. He had a real pretty behind-the-back, over-the-head feed. So we'll see what the rookie can do here for the Magic. That shot from Johnson misses the mark. Caliste back the other way. Caliste has been deadly from outside the arc here this afternoon, and it always seems to be a different guy lighting it up from outside. It's Jennings, it's Allman, tonight it's Caliste. Just such a nice wrinkle to have when you can have that outside game on the Magic.
And Taylor again doing a good job of being able to face up against pressure defense, put the ball on the floor a couple, 3 times, make a good calm decision with the ball, not turn it over. It's a real help pressure release there that the Magic have when teams are playing this much high pressure defense on top of them.
Taylor takes it, tried to go hard to the rim, and Devon Maxwell denied. Session back the other way, bounce pass to Johnson, flies in. Session with the rebound, another one for Franklin, and he spins in the lane.
Devon and Taylor, after that, they met a meeting at the rim. They had an appointment scheduled, and Devon was not late for that appointment and sent it back, and they've had a running conversation, Denzel and he.
Well, I think
real friendly convo after that.
I didn't see who it was in the corner for the Magic, but I think that pass was intended to go to the corner baseline, and Denzel just saw the opportunity, raced in, grabbed it, and as you said, went hard to the rim, and Devon Maxwell was there to say, hey, how you doing? What are you doing for a bite to eat afterwards? Oh, by the way, let me swat this away.
Yeah, you're 100% right. He intercepted the pass that was intended for Almond in the corner, and it was a right decision, but Devon Maxwell, so athletic.
24-point advantage here with 6:01 to go in the fourth quarter. Clayton being guarded by Session, puts it into the hands of Jason Caliste. Corey Allman steps back for 3. Corey, get the phone out, my friend. Call on back to Maryland and see how the family's doing.
That's frustrating for Island right now. Those guys are getting, Caliste and Allman are getting the shots off with very little room to spare, and they're automatic tonight. And frustration at the other end, the Magic over and over again. The Island creating more opportunities on the offensive glass. It's getting absurd, these numbers here.
110-85, another offensive outburst by the Moncton Magic. Taylor inside and Maxwell again with the Mutombo-like rejection. And they continue to battle down into the corner. But my goodness, Mad Max, Devon Maxwell, not at all allowing Denzel Taylor to get any finish at the rack.
And that was purely out of frustration. Maxwell turned around and yelled at his teammates, "Help me." I blocked, it's 2 shots I blocked, and possession was retained by the Magic, and he's just frustrated. He just went to the corner and gave a shot to Denzel to stop the clock and turn around at his teammates and express some frustration, yelling, "Help me." And just a check of the out-of-town scoreboard there, fans. When our game's finished here, we always encourage you to check out the other broadcasts, and you should head to the London Lightning's YouTube page. Check out the second half of their matchup with KW. Right now, with 2:08 to go in the second quarter in London, it's 63-54 for London over KW, and London in a close fight with the St. John's Edge in the Central Division for first place on that side.
So 5:14 left to go here in the fourth quarter as we have a media timeout. 110-85 is the score, and it's great for the Moncton Magic to have this kind of output. It's great for the fans, but man, these fans at Moncton are going to get spoiled here with all this offense and games kind of being put away halfway through the fourth quarter.
Well,
great problem to have, I guess.
It's a good problem to have, certainly, but they're not getting spoiled in some other areas, and it's a defensive end of the floor tonight. And I know Island's kind of stuck here at 85, a little iffy bet to get to 100 points, which is a kind of a barrier that teams clear most games here in the NBLC. But I mean, without the offensive rebounding, Island would be in a much bigger hole, and that's really something that I guarantee you Coach Salerno's in their ear about, and want them to clean up here in the last 5 minutes, really spoil the fans, send them home with a good solid last 5 minutes here of this game.
So we are back underway after that media timeout. That pass scooped inside from Allman. Tyler Scott intercepts. He comes back the other way with some speed. Tyler Scott high off the glass, and the put-back finish by Devon Maxwell.
And again, and again, and again, Island. And Tyler Scott did a good job putting pressure on the defense. Left no rebounding underneath the hoop.
Corey Allman steps around a bit of a screen, tried to bounce it inside the Baines, and it went off a foot and out of bounds. And Jason Caliste right now, the leading scorer in the game. He's got 25 on 8 of 9 from outside the arc.
And I mean, that's just this number is absurd. 26 offensive rebounds for Island here.
14 rebounds on the game for Franklin Session to go along with his 23 points. So a good game for Franklin as he steps into that one and knocked it away from Corey Allman.
Yeah, he's one of the better defenders in the league, and he's given problems here for Moncton to even get this offense started here in these last few possessions with his denial here.
Getting a great look at the back of the jersey is Brent Jennings as he inbounds from right in front of our broadcast position. Marquise Clayton now dumps it inside to Jennings. Jennings steps back. He doesn't get the bucket.
Felt the push coming, tried to get the catch and the shot in one motion, try to get to the line, but they're calling it on the floor and decided out of bounds for the Magic.
Second foul on Tyler Scott. 110-87, 4:33 to go. So in the world where anything can happen, you almost don't want to say it. It's going to be a victory, and Corey rolls it around, but should the Magic do what they should do and hang on here, that's going to be another big win and a 2-0 weekend against 2 division opponents who are coming up behind trying to catch the Magic. But let's, first things first, 4:10 still to go. Tyler Scott with the smooth stroke from outside. My goodness, a pretty looking stroke there from Tyler Scott.
Yeah, Corey gave himself a shot in the head there. He went for the steal. You give Tyler Scott even a little bit of an opening.
Here's Marquise now.
Oh, pretty feed by Marquise.
Very pretty feed as the 2 AUS players, Tyler Scott at one end doing his thing for the Storm, and Marquise Clayton at the other for the Magic. Session.
Well defended there by Marquise on the other end, stepping in front of Session.
Marquise wearing those long sleeves. He'll go over now and defend the inbound from OC. Anthony Cox back onto the floor for the Magic. Denzel Taylor will take a seat.
These are good minutes for Marquise. It's the game still. I mean, look, Is the game in doubt? Not really, but you can't be sure with a 20-point lead with 4 minutes left. So he's gotten some minutes that matter here right now, and back to, again, exactly a 20-point lead, 112-92. So he's got some minutes that matter, okay? Not like last night where it was a 40-point lead when he came in. These kind of matter, and Sessions still being competitive, and it's a first-team defense that he's playing against. He's making another good decision there.
Baines steps up from about 24 feet, couldn't get the shot to drop. Back the other way now. Tyler Scott, he's feeling it, puts it up from outside. Tyler Scott, the last 3 baskets for the Storm have all belonged to the former UPEI Panther from Halifax, Tyler Scott.
Down to 17 here, under 3. A little careless pass there as well, almost given away to Mr. Session.
So now, the Magic have got to button it down a little here as Corey floats it in. Baines tried to go up for the putback, and then he kind of got jammed up on the rim and went down to the floor heavily. Good sportsmanship there from Devon Maxwell and Tyler Scott, helping Baines up off the floor.
And I think this is a good decision by Coach Salerno to just put things on ice a little bit. Let's get Al Stewart in the game with Marquise. A couple more ball a little bit more ball handling, a little bit more veteran leadership, and calm things down a little bit. But 17-point lead, and it feels like with the level of play, this game should be a lot tighter. And it's just a couple of key things that have made this lead comfortable for a real long time for the Magic.
There's a lot of things that go in to a win or a loss for a team. But right now, with 2:49 to go in the fourth quarter, and you look at the Island Storm trailing by 17, how much will they look back at how cold they were from the line when they had all kinds of opportunities? And again, you can't go back in time, but if they had even shot a normal percentage from the line, they would probably have another 10 or 12 points on the board right now.
Yep, and from the field too. I mean, they haven't shot a great percentage. They've had all these extra opportunities, and the shooting numbers from the field, they're at 36%. But look at the number of shots that they've got up, Scott, right now. They are 37 for 101 from the field tonight. All those extra shot opportunities, 21 more shots than the Magic have had, and 80 is actually a pretty big number. That's the number that's kind of a target number you want to be at in a 40-minute game, a 40-minute game like this. So just absurd numbers here, and the Magic have got to be feeling really fortunate to be in the position they're in, and lots to work on here going for a big weekend next weekend in this building too. Friday night, Halifax in this building, Saturday night St. John in this building. So the 2 teams behind them this weekend, and next weekend it's the 2 teams right in front of them.
Well, certainly.
And if they rebound the ball next Friday like they've done tonight, that's going to spell disaster in this building against the Halifax Hurricanes.
Certainly a big month here in February. We've talked about it, but they've got a chance at home. Is that shot no good from Jennings in the corner? But they've got a chance here in February if they can continue to play well on home court as they have all season long. Yep. At the end of February, they could be in a very good position in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, certainly.
2:15 left to play. Session picks that ball up, taking his time, surveying the floor. Osi points over to Tyler Scott. They get it into Scott's hands. He's had the hot hand here lately for the Storm. Decides to step back and put it up. And again, Tyler Scott, my goodness. Baines, money from outside.
Baines gave him the room. They got a switch there and got Maxwell in the post on Clayton. And Baines was concerned about that, so gave Scott a little bit of room.
Baines works it over to Al Stewart. Al takes it baseline, dishes right back out to Clayton. He'll try to answer for 3, rolls off the iron, down into the hands of Tyler Scott. You know what he's thinking about? Give me the ball with space and I'll put it in. Session instead dumps it off to Osi. Thought about trying to find Scott, turns it over. Great defense inside by Jennings. And then Maxwell from behind will be guilty of the foul, and I believe that's going to be 5 on Devon.
A real smart foul there too by Devon. But it's going to be a little bit too little too late here for the Storm, as well as they've played. And they've got a lot to feel happy about coming out of this game. A little discouraging with you talked about the free throw shooting in the first half. Got them behind the 8 ball, but Lots to feel positive about.
So Devon Maxwell, I thought it was 5, but it's actually his 6th personal foul, so he's fouled out of the game. And he brought a lot of energy here this afternoon to the Island Storm. He finishes up with 17 points on 7 of 13 shooting.
And Coach Kendrick I think the fans thought that he was getting a technical foul there, but the referee was just reiterating that the timeout was Island's. And Coach Kendrick was very unhappy about not getting a foul call, yelling way across the court to referee Brent Stalker, "How'd you miss it? How'd you miss it?" But the referee and the fans behind the bench here thought that he was getting teed up. But just reiterating the timeout call, the referees are letting it go, but not sure what play he's referring to exactly. But listen, whistles have not been a problem for Island tonight. They're going to go home here going, okay, well, we've got some stuff to build on, and we can be happy with a lot of things. But, I mean, it's their own. This is their own making here, this deficit that they've got right now. I mean, with all the missed free throws and the missed opportunities, effort hasn't been the problem. But the opportunities that effort makes you have to convert on, and they just haven't done that tonight enough. And if they'd done that just even to their normal level you talked about, this would be a nip-and-tuck game right now.
6 players in double-digit scoring for the Moncton Magic, led by Jason Caliste off the bench with his 25. 88 seconds left to play in the 4th quarter. Al Stewart to inbound for the Magic. Stewart works it, steps back, puts the shot up. No good. Session with the rebound. He'll bring it up the floor now with Al Stewart back defensively. Session in a crowd. Charges into the face of Al Stewart, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Al not afraid to stick his nose in. And right now he's taking some shots to that nose and that jaw, trying to stay in front of Franklin Session.
So time to start thinking about your pick for player of the game here, Dave. I mean, it might be a foregone conclusion, but what do you got for us? Who's your Moncton Magic player of the game here with 1:14 left in the 4th quarter?
Well, we're going to go with Jason Caliste, I think, is the proper guy to go with here. Terry Thomas and Al, and we had some other candidates, but we'll go with Jason. That the 3-point shooting, the 8 threes that he made were really key to the run that put them far enough ahead here, where these problems that the Magic have had didn't make things too nerve-wracking. I think that 3-point shooting of Jason at a key time was really the telling point and gave him this cushion that they've needed. I mean, just kind of an ugly second half here for the Magic.
Well, in the sports world of stranger things have happened, there was 1:14 left, and the Island Storm were down by 12. It might seem like a huge lead, but weird things have happened in the game of basketball, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that something could happen here. So the Moncton Magic and Coach Joe Salerno have really got to get something to come out of this timeout with and to button it down for the final 1:14.
Yeah, it's a situation here where you've talked that definitely their streak of winning quarters is going to come to the end here with this 4th quarter, but only 48 second half points here right now as we stand for the Magic. They're on a pace for a much higher scoring half than that game than that, but I mean, they just don't seem to have the energy. They haven't played at the same intensity level as Island has here in the second half, and some of that is the game not really ever being in doubt after that run in the 2nd quarter that put them up. But as professionals, as professional basketball players, you got to know this same energy level next time this team visits you. You better match what they've brought here, and they certainly haven't. In this 4th quarter, it's just been kind of an ugly kind of mess here for the Magic.
So the Magic work that ball around. They will not be in a hurry. Time on their side. Al Stewart, he just spins that ball, gives it off to Jennings. Jennings puts it up from outside, and Brent Jennings calmly drops the chin to the chest and hits the tray.
He's been a little down with his with his shot there today, but he makes one. Get a good feeling going next game.
So 47.9 left to play here in this 4th quarter. 115-100. 15-point advantage for the Moncton Magic. And right now, unless something changes, the Island Storm are about to do something that hasn't happened in a long time, and that's beat the Moncton Magic in a quarter. Yeah. Right now, they're up 29-24 in quarter number 4. Al Stewart underneath pressure from Osi. does a good job just to keep it alive. Jennings swings it over to Baines. Baines thought about the shot. Cox puts it to Jennings. Much better chance for Jennings. Shot's no good. Tyler Scott grabs the rebound. Final 20 seconds. Cox steps into the middle. And Cox, I'm not sure if he twisted an ankle there coming down as he's laboring as he goes up the floor, still grimacing in pain. Keep an eye on that. I think he might have stretched something out there on the back of his left leg as he's rubbing it out. And the fans rise to their feet in a crescendo now and give an ovation to the Moncton Magic, who have now won 5 of 6 and sweep the 2 games here at home this weekend. Yesterday over Cape Breton, and this afternoon over the Island Storm. So they did what they had to do this weekend. They defended home court. 115-100 is your final.
And and like we said, next weekend, this weekend was a matchup of the 2 teams behind them in the standings. Next weekend, the matchup of the 2 teams ahead of them in the standings, and they're going to have to be much, much better next weekend against the Halifax Hurricanes and the St. John Riptide if they're going to be have 2-0 weekends in succession here in the NBLC.
Well, Franklin Session had a great game for the Island Storm in a losing cause. He had 25 points on the day. And for the Moncton Magic, of course, our Moncton Magic player of the game is Jason Calise. He had 25, but really lit it up from outside, going 8 of 9 from 3-point range, and really lifted up the Moncton Magic from outside the arc. So again, he'll be on board here in just a moment to talk to you, David, as the Moncton Magic player of the game for the post-game interview. But again, regardless of some things that the Magic might not be happy about and they need to work on, at the end of the day, it's about who has the lead at the final buzzer. And yesterday and again today, it was the Moncton Magic. A huge win by a big margin against Cape Breton. A little tighter today, but again, another W, and that runs Moncton's Magic now to 16-12, while the Storm fall to 10-15.
Yeah, and they're tied for the most wins in the NBLC overall. Played more games than a couple of these other teams, but listen, a good run like this, 16 to get up to 16-12 is a pretty big deal. And listen, they'll have a lot to work on, I'm sure, this week in practice. Coach Salerno and Caliste is all ready to join us here anytime, Scott.
Well, I'll step aside. On behalf of my broadcast partner, Dave Tingley, and our entire Moncton Magic broadcast crew, I'm Scott Squires. Thanks very much for joining us here on the game broadcast. Reminder to check the Moncton Magic website for the upcoming schedule and broadcast schedule, as well as links to the live stream. Once again, make your final from the Moncton Coliseum. The Magic sweep their 2-game home series. First against Cape Breton, now against the Island Storm. They beat the Storm this afternoon, 115-100. I'll step aside and turn it over to Dave and the player of the game,